During a flight, a pair of birds witness the birth of their first chick, and suddenly the happy moment is interrupted by turbulence followed by an explosion in the plane's engine. In the midst of the panic, the eagle father rushes to protect his wife and chick, but it's too late and the aircraft ends up suffering a fatal accident. Several hours later, it is discovered that the father on that plane was none other than Avion City's mayor, Silverwing, who died with his wife and newborn son. The people are devastated by the loss, and at a press conference, Flutterclaw, the brother of Silverwing, reveals that they have found out who caused the accident. The eagle tells them that an employee named Guru is responsible for what happened on the plane, and that's why the city is not without a leader. He reveals that he will assume the position of mayor from now on despite the terrible catastrophe his brothers suffered. Flutterclaw claims he will do his utmost to make sure that Avion City has a bright future and will uphold Silverwing's legacy. Later, in a faraway village, an old hen Biddy comes back from another of her foraging trips and tells the villagers that she has discovered a baby eagle lost in the woods. When she reaches her cabin, the old bird sees the little one trying to fly, and comforts her when she realizes that the little one has not yet learned how. At that moment, the hen receives a visit from Shanks, a wandering bird, who is looking for a job to be able to take care of his injuries. Biddy doesn't waste any time, and she tells the homeless man that she doesn't have the funds to pay an employee, but the man doesn't care, and offers to take shelter and food in exchange. Furthermore, Shanks assures her that he could repair the broken structures on the farm, and realizing that this wouldn't be a bad idea, she accepts the proposal. Biddy decides to heal his wounds for free, so that the wanderer can move his wing, as a courtesy for all the work he will do. After several months, the chick has matured into a young eagle and is now called Goldbeak. During work, Shanks spots the eagle and yet another of its superhero antics and approaches, asking if it could stop screaming so much. Even so, Goldbeak refuses to listen to the bird and jumps into his flight, but crashes in a humiliating way, trapping his beak in some wood. Shanks quickly rushes to help the little eagle, who wonders why he hasn't learned to fly yet, even though he's an eagle. The bird finds the question funny, and tells him that he doesn't need to worry, because chickens have always been able to survive, even if they can only run. The pair are interrupted by their half-sister, Katraka, the young eagle, who calls for another flight training session. The other birds of the village watch as Katraka sets her brother in a catapult and readies herself to throw him into the air, now standing on a hill. However, Goldbeak is unable to use his wings correctly and ends up landing on top of Shay, who becomes furious about the accident. Quickly, Katraka runs to see if his brother is alright, and as revenge for the attack he suffered, the baby bird kicks the eagle's helmet away. Immediately afterwards, Shay attacks Goldbeak's sister, who flies into a rage. This sets off a chase through the village, and in no time at all, the eagle has captured the baby bird. Suddenly, Biddy comes into view before the two and yells at them to put down their weapons. Once the situation is under control, the mother hen gets a lecture from Shay's family, and Katraka comforts her brother, saying that all he was doing was to protect her. When he gets home, Goldbeak asks his adoptive mother what he can do, because he doesn't want to be treated like a freak by the rest of the village. Then Biddy tells her chick that he doesn't have to do what others want, but if he could let go of his desire to learn to fly, he would find it easier to get used to life there. Goldbeak reluctantly agrees, and the next morning, the whole family meets to start their running program. Years later, Goldbeak is now an adult eagle and is still running as normal. In a part of the world close to Avion City, the mayor, Flutterclaw, is getting ready to give a speech and is being protected by and with his security falcons. When they remember that Guy is the son of Guru, the man responsible for the former mayor's accident, some young women in the audience are disgusted, while others compliment the falcon on its good looks. Flutterclaw has his team ready, and he's just about to announce the next captain of the top-tier Eagle Scouts, which is a critical role. The mayor then promptly appoints Guy to the position, explaining that he knows of the crimes his father has committed, but that doesn't mean he is guilty of anything. When Goldbeak returns to the village, he sees Katraka working on a glider, and he offers to help his sister with her project by testing the glider. In a few seconds, the eagle is launched dozens of meters, but although it manages to glide for a while, the bird eventually loses control. This causes Goldbeak to run into a number of farmers and houses in the village, and to start a terrible fire in the generator shed. The overloaded circuits generate a strong electromagnetic pulse which makes everyone in the village start floating, and they are soon thrown to the ground. Later in the afternoon, Biddy and his family come together to ask forgiveness for the terrible destruction caused by Goldbeak, and they realize that everyone was correct about him, and so the eagle decides to leave the village. The peasants readily accepted the idea and requested Goldbeak not to come back to the village. The eagle is so upset by all he hears that he runs away, slips, and falls, almost off a cliff. Minutes later, Biddy and Katraka find Goldbeak walking alone through the forest in the rain and try to comfort him, telling him that he can still go home. But the eagle doesn't agree and asks his adoptive mother where he came from. Then Biddy says that she is not sure, but thinks he must have been born in Avian City. Without a second thought, Goldbeak decides to head towards the city, bidding farewell to his family and saying that from now on, he will deal with problems alone. The eagle leaves and heads through the vast forest, looking for Avian City, when he is startled by his sister and she tells him that she is going with him to look after him on the trip. So, the two walk for many kilometers and even have to construct a rope bridge to cross a large ravine. Despite almost reaching the other side, Goldbeak up falling and is rescued by a falcon which takes him back to Katraka. The falcon's talent is inspiring the eagle and he decides to join him, and they meet Shanks, who is delighted to see his friends again. As nightfall, the group rests at the falcon's cabin and Shanks explains that if Goldbeak wants to learn to fly, he should ask for his help. The bird tells Silverwing that he was the best pilot in the world, but that Falcon was second on the podium and had already flown many missions. Curious asks Shanks what he should name the falcon and Shanks says that he should call the Falcon Master. At last, all lie down to sleep and the next morning the young bird says to the falcon, "Teach me to fly, for this is my greatest wish." The master pushes Goldbeak off the top of the cliff and watches him fall, saying that an eagle only learns to fly when it is ready, or else it must simply take its fate. In a panic, Goldbeak remembers all the times he felt powerless because he couldn't fly and he begins to flap his wings with all his might, finally managing to take flight. Katraka is very happy about this, and when she notices that the eagle has the same silver feathers as Silverwing, the master thinks. However, Goldbeak's training goes on and he is getting better and better at flying. One night, the master asks the eagle why he wants to reach Avian City and he replies that he needs to know about his true family. Realizing that Goldbeak is indeed who he thought he was, the hawk suggests that he seek out the mayor when he arrives in town, as this will give him the answers he desires. The next morning, the group sets off again, and the master tells them that they must simply keep going straight ahead. That's where they will end up, in Avian City. Therefore, Goldbeak bids farewell to Shanks and his trainer, and continues his journey with his sister. Upon arriving in the city, the pair are impressed by the beauty of the region, and quickly head to one of the press conferences with the mayor so they can speak with him. While giving her speech, Flutterclaw signals for Guy and his falcons to begin in their flying performance, and Goldbeak joins them in order to get the mayor's attention. Annoyed, Guy orders the eagle to land immediately, but Goldbeak ignores him and flies towards the mayor, saying he needs to talk to him. The falcons quickly come together to attack the intruder, but they are unable to capture him because he is flying, and he returns to the stage, where he is captured with his sister. Upon noticing the necklace around Goldbeak's neck, the mayor decides to have his security guards bring them inside. Flutterclaw requests the stranger to give her his necklace, and finds that it fits with his other necklace. Realizing that Goldbeak is indeed Silverwing's son, the mayor is overjoyed to learn that he is alive, and begins to explain everything he knows about the accident from years ago. In addition, Flutterclaw tells his nephew that Avian City will always be his home, so he hopes the eagle will feel at home there. Later, the mayor decides to take the brothers to the industries created by Silverwing, where they're shown the city's energy source, which is powered by a type of reddish rock. Flutterclaw then explains that Avian City is suffering from a drop in energy production, and they're searching for more stones to sustain the energy source. Hearing this, Goldbeak remembers that the chicken village has a large number of these rocks scattered around, and they've never been able to use them for anything, as they get scared when they get close to them. They see an opportunity to make a deal that works for both of them, and Flutterclaw says that he will assist his nephew's friends, and they will make an offer for the red rocks in their territory. With this news, Goldbeak is hopeful, for now he has an opportunity to make amends for the trouble he caused the peasants. The next morning, Silverwing's son visits Guy and tells him that his uncle has already told him all about his father's accident. Although he knows that the falcon's father caused the incident, Goldbeak says that he will never blame Guy for it and that all he wants to do is join his squadron. The eagle will have to train very hard and leaves, telling the rookie to meet them at the top of the tower to see how he does. So Goldbeak meets the falcon at nightfall, and they start an instant flight test following a free fall. But Goldbeak panics and loses control, and Guy completes the trip and gets back to the top of the tower before Goldbeak. The eagle is saddened to realize that his fears still limit his potential, and the next day, the falcon gives the new boy a ribbon that is mysterious. Confused, Goldbeak sets off to watch the tape and discovers that it's a flying lesson from his late father, the best pilot in the world. While explaining, Silverwing explains the 360 degrees half turn, which is a more advanced maneuver that the pilot needs to master in several aspects to be able to perform it. On hearing this, Goldbeak realizes that this is the same move that Guy told him to do last night during the challenge, and he will practice it until he masters it. The Eagle has been trained for several hours in the elite falconry tower, and at the end of the training, the Eagle's uncle congratulates the Eagle for the effort made during the training process. Goldbeak believes that he is now able to outpace the Falcon leader and challenges him again during the competition, and during the competition, he does outpace his opponent. The issue is Guy collides with a window, which is opened by someone inside the tower, and in desperation he tries to fly back on the path, but the Falcon strikes his head on the building structure. This causes the bird to become unconscious, and Goldbeak no longer attempts to save the bird, which would otherwise die from falling. The next day, Flutterclaw meets with his nephew, and they discuss how the Eagle is doing better than expected, when they are informed that the contract for mining the rocks is ready. So, the mayor heads towards the chicken village with the two brothers, and when they reach the site, they discover that the villagers are standing in front of the plane. Startled, the peasants wonder why the Eagle has returned, but before any trouble begins, Flutterclaw appears and introduces himself to the mayor of the small town. Immediately afterwards, he asks his employees to unload the carts, and the farmers are thrilled to receive numerous gifts from Avian City. Goldbeak is reunited with his mother at that time, and Biddy is pleased that his children are fine after all these days. In the meantime, Flutterclaw speaks with the village mayor about the Energy Rock project, and the little rooster decides to take him to the cave where the stones are collected. Realizing the enormous amount of energy they will have with all this, the Eagle contacts its employees by cell phone and orders them to collect as many rocks as possible, no matter how much they have to dig. He did not know that Catraco was standing next to him, and had been listening to the entire conversation, and had become concerned about the prospect of the village falling apart, as the buildings were directly under them. As the agreement is completed, Flutterclaw bids him goodbye, and before departing, Goldbeak assures his mother that the mayor of Avian City will take care of them and help them with anything they need, so she need not worry about them. In the mayor's hangar, hours later, Catraco sees Flutterclaw's assistant behaving strangely and decides to follow him to see what's happening. While doing so, the hen realizes that the assistant has gone into a room with a kind of giant boiler. Wanting to know more about all of this, Catraco hacks into Flutterclaw's computer and rushes to warn her brother, revealing that all the cities that made mining deals with Avian City have disappeared from the map. But before they could go any further, the mayor came into the room, and Catraco decided to leave the room to avoid suspicion. Finally, the mayor is away at a dinner, and Catraca calls for her brother. Quickly, the chicken takes Goldbeak to Flutterclaw's room and tries to show him the records he found on the computer. However, at that time, one of the walls in the room starts to move. The two enter the secret passage and find a map with the location of the destroyed cities and discover that the mayor has already killed several people to keep Avian City alive. Then suddenly Flutterclaw shows up and, realizing that the two have already uncovered all of his plans, he attempts to manipulate his nephew, claiming that Goldbeak will take over as ruler of the city. Moreover, the young eagle is reminded by the mayor that the people of the chicken village have always treated him like a monster. Outraged, Goldbeak declares that he will regret this, and at that moment, the mayor's assistant appears in the room. The brother and sister duo then try to escape, but the security guards easily capture them, and Flutterclaw approaches his nephew. The mayor told Goldbeak that he has already informed the village about what will happen and will pay the appropriate compensation to each resident. Therefore, he is not committing any crime. Finally, Flutterclaw orders his guards to take the eagle to his quarters, as he needs to calm down and think about his future, since Goldbeak will carry on the legacy of Silverwing's family. The bird is furious when locked in his room, but when outside, Shanks seems to be knocking out the guards. Shortly after, the bird releases its friend and says it came with Catraca and its master to help the villagers and go towards the village. The tower alerts at that moment, and Goldbeak and Shanks attack the guards that they encounter to get to the hangar. Once he meets his mentor and sister again, Goldbeak immediately heads for the plane, and the master diverts the security guards while Catraca gets ready for their getaway. The veteran bird boards the ship with the group, and they flee the tower hangar at great speed before Flutterclaw arrives to the village. The group is soon cut off by Guy and his team, but Goldbeak tells the mayor what he's up to, and at the same moment, the master shows a picture of the falcon when it was still a chick. Then it turns out that Goldbeak's guardian is none other than Guy's father, Guru, who was blamed for the Silverwing plane crash. The leader of the Falcons is astonished to discover that his father has been alive all along, and commands his squadron to withdraw at once. Far away, in the chicken village, everyone gathers in the main square, and upon hearing the news about what Flutterclaw will do to the village. They are all terrified. But the panic is broken by Shanks, and the people ask him what he is doing there. As he does, Shanks reveals that he was one of the pilots on the plane that Silverwing was traveling on, and during the accident, he was told to save Goldbeak as the eagle would not allow him to be left there. The pilot knew what was going to happen to the couple, but he was still focused and took the little bird away, leaving it in front of Biddy's house. This is a blow to Goldbeak, who now knows that Guru was not to blame for the accident, but rather Flutterclaw, who wanted to get rid of his brother so he could become the mayor of Avian City. Determined to avenge his uncle and protect his friends from the chicken village, Goldbeak devises a plan and asks everyone to do as he says, for in doing so, they will have a chance to defeat the army of the City of Eagles. When night falls, the excavators come to the village, and Flutterclaw's assistant starts sweeping the area, while Flutterclaw leads the mining vehicles. Meanwhile, the farmers hide in strategic locations around the village, but at once a large army of falcons appears in the sky, swooping down on the chickens that are exposed. Despite their efforts to repel the invaders, the villagers are soon overwhelmed, and when they realize that things are spiraling out of control, Goldbeak joins the fight with Shanks against the invaders. As a frenzied air battle unfolds in the sky, Biddy and the rest of the chickens must cooperate to fight off the weaker ones who are down by traps and objects thrown at them. Guru seems to help his friends at the moment, and is surprised by Guy, who starts attacking him, but the falcon immobilizes him and tells him the truth. It was Flutterclaw who framed him. Shortly after, Katraka uses her helicopter to cause an accident with the mayor's helicopter, which attempts to electrocute her, but she manages to escape the ambush in time. The problem is that the helicopter crash affects the caves, causing a new gravitational pulse in the village, but the chickens take advantage of this using their floating position to fight the hawks. Meanwhile, Goldbeak duels with his uncle atop the burning airship, but Flutterclaw is too strong and ends up knocking out his nephew. Then, Guy is saved by his teammates and he tells the army to cease fire, ending the battle. Amidst the burning aircraft, Flutterclaw manages to hurl Goldbeak towards the flames, but the eagle regains consciousness at the last second, and remembering all those he loves, he manages to wake up. Goldbeak, in a rage, unleashes powerful attacks against his uncle, who is supported by Guy, who arrives to subdue him and his army. Realizing he had already lost that war, Flutterclaw states that Silverwing had always been a soft-hearted mayor, preventing him from carrying out plans that would benefit the residents of Avian City, and therefore he decided to get rid of him. But the tyrant mayor knows he was mistaken and is heartbroken to discover that he had killed his own brother due to his evilness. At the end of the confrontation, Goldbeak flies towards his family and realizes that his father was famous not only for his flying skills, but also for his heart, since throughout his life he always helped every bird that crossed his path. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Leave a comment about your favorite movie, and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.